Now, back to the Jason and John Show, live from the Leaders Credit Union studios. Let Leaders Credit Union champion your financial story at leaderscu.com/ESPN. 92.9 FM, ESPN.
Jessica Benson is the host of the Jessica Benson Show. She's a Herdon Grassy Media, catch her on the Grizz Radio Network. She's the Grizzophile. She joins us every Tuesday, and she joins us now. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, how are you guys?
What do we do?
Hanging in there.
What do we do when we're in a stretch like this? As a team, as a nation. What do we do? What's the best remedy here?
Have a little patience.
Okay.
Take a little breath.
Okay.
Try to find wins in losses,
Wow.
which is never a very fun thing to do. But you have to find areas to be encouraged by, of which I think we had multiple in the last two games, one of which was an actual win over the very sad, now Nico Harrison-less Dallas Mavericks. But the first half against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you try to find these stretches that you can build on, right? Where you eventually turn it into a complete game against a team that's above 500, one of these legitimate contenders in the NBA this season. And that's something that we just have not seen yet from this Grizzlies team.
How close do you think Zach Edey is? Because he feels...
Isn't that the question we all wake up asking every single day?
Yes.
Every day of my life, I look at my wife and I say, "How close
is Zach Edey?"
Not how are
I'm
you?
Sure she's so thrilled about that, right? You're like, listen, this is what matters in this world. I think we're close. I mean, he's on the trip, and you don't want to read tea leaves, but they do come back between the Cleveland game on Saturday and the San Antonio game that's in San Antonio on Tuesday. Okay. He could have stayed back. He could have kept practicing with the hustle, but he's not. He's on this trip. And even if it's not this road trip, I think there's at least signs that there's a chance, right? So you're saying there's a chance that he could rejoin on this road trip. But from a worst case scenario, he's rejoining sometime this month. And I think there's this obvious, maybe not obvious for everybody, but at least for me, I really have tried to approach this thing with the caveat of we haven't seen how it's supposed to look yet, especially with the focal point that Zach Edey can be. And what I mean by that is just how he can make this offense go from a screen setting standpoint, from a providing space for the rest of the guys, for John Morant specifically, as we've seen him operate with one of more of those traditional bigs successfully throughout his career. But I think even as much as it opens things up for Ja, what it does for Jaren on the defensive end, he's able to sit more in his natural position. That saves energy. Does that translate into more aggression on the offensive side of things? I want to see what it looks like with Zach Edey, as I think most people do, before making any real declarative statements or assumptions about what the trend is for this team this season.
Well, I am totally in favor of that. I just how are we putting too much on? I mean, it's the only thing we have. Could really be. Because it's like in terms of reinforcement, like you got him and Jerome, so you're just trying to cling to something. And I understand the human condition, right? We're trying to just have hope for the sake of having hope, but I do worry that we're not talking about the rookie of the year coming back. We're talking about a guy who has
a lot on it.
He has a role.
7'4" big man, and also I've tried to remind people too. This is the first time he's ever coming off injury in his career, right? Like he was insanely healthy at Purdue. And so this is the first substantial injury that he's had to deal with. You're rejoining a team that is playing at or trying to play at a really fast pace. And so it's not just getting back into game shape. It's getting into 2025, 2026 Memphis Grizzlies game shape. So I do think there has to be some level of, let's not put this wild expectation on Zach Edey for the first couple games he's back. And there has to be patience in that too. And then you're adding patience on top of patience, and nobody has that much patience to give around. So I understand where some people get a little squirmy with it. And I do think there's this level of, all right, Zach Edey can fix so much, but how quickly can he fix it is the big question.
I am looking forward each night. I do find myself looking forward to seeing what Cedric Howard is going to do next. Even in that loss to OKC, he puts up a double-double. I'm enjoying watching him get thrown into the fire, but especially defensively. But maybe, and this is where I'd go with you, Jess. Maybe a little bit differently than Jalen, who got the same treatment last year and was solid in it. You're seeing it with a guy who's got the athleticism that you want, the 7-foot wingspan, right? You're seeing a guy that it feels like maybe could guard anybody in a way that you once thought of Dylan Brooks in that way, even though not as athletic, but he was the guy that was going to shut down the other team's guys. Cedric Howard seems to be on a pretty good path toward that to start.
He's like the prototype of what this team has been looking for years, and the fact that we're 11 games in and he already looks like he belongs in that space is so encouraging. The first half against the Thunder, you're thinking to yourself, like, wow, he's doing this against the defending champions. And then, you finally, for the first time, I thought, really saw him kind of force it in the second half, which we have not seen from Cedric Howard. There was one time where he's going 1-on-3, and you just chalk that up to another learning opportunity for him. His jump shot just looks so pure. The way that he finds himself in the right positions for rebounds, fighting for rebounds, he just adds a lot to what this team needs. And you can, flirt with the idea of, okay, if Cedric Howard is this good this early, then that does cheat the expectation meter a little bit. Because if he is playable and if eventually we do see him in the starting lineup, which it's got to happen, you would assume at some point because he's so clearly one of the best 5 players on this team, that's an exciting place to be. Like, we had an opportunity to see him and Cooper Flagg on the same court, and with all of the expectations and the excitement around Cooper Flagg and what he was as this number 1 pick and the hype around him, Cedric Howard was the best rookie on the court on Friday night. And I know the Mavs are going through it, and Cooper is being asked to do literally everything, everywhere, all at once for this team. But Cedric Howard's been asked to do a lot too, and he really has risen to the occasion thus far.
Talking to Jessica Benson, joined us every Tuesday here on the show. Catch her on the Jessica Benson Show. CJ Hurd on Grand City Media, Grizz Radio Network. How precarious do you think this stretch is? Because if I'd have told you that, I don't know, we're 4 games from now, right? That would put you at 15 games. If I'd have told you that 15 games got played, John Morant played in every single one of them things, and the Grizz are 4-11. Like, I feel like we would be like, well, who else? What else? And it's so I'm just asking, how precarious is it if you think the Grizz come out of this road trip having lost what would be 7 out of 8 or whatever the actual number is?
It's not just Ja, it's Ja and Jaren. Like, those are your 2 best offensive players, and neither of them have necessarily dominated, and it's kind of been for oddly different reasoning. Like, you have Ja on a shooting slump, but his usage and his assist rates are on the upper side of his career, and then you have Jaren, who's as efficient as ever, but his usage rate is on the lower side, and he's taking less shots than he has in seasons past, and then his defense, I don't think, has been quite at the level that we're used to seeing. And, you never want to – it feels really lame 11 games in to be like, let's remember the Grizzlies didn't have a real preseason, but they didn't with those 2. Like, we didn't get to see Ja and Jaren playing the preseason together. And just as it is for every other person on this team, this is still learning a new system with a first-year head coach in the NBA. And take out last season with his interim coach opportunity for Tomas Isola. Like, this is the first real go at it. And so there's a lot of things to implement and to get used to. There is this natural level of these are 2 all-stars, and anytime both of them are available for this team, you would hope that they have a chance to win on any given night, no matter who is around them. But there is a figuring out of the cast of characters. And we'll again go back to the injuries that this team is facing with Zach Edey, with Ty Jerome, with Scottie Pippen Jr., with Brandon Clark. Those are significant loss in rotation players. And so all of that can have an impact, but they both have to be better versions of themselves. And part of that is on them making shots, being aggressive. And another part of that is from the coaching side of things, figuring out, okay, how do I utilize these 2 players in the best way possible? How do I get more minutes with them on the court together and ultimately try to put them in a position where they are able to close out games against those teams that have players of similar nature, or at least what we expected to be of similar nature?
Jess, I'm putting you back in that AD hat. We're going back to college athletics. I love doing this now. When we're going back to Ryan Silverfield, you're in the Arkansas AD seat. We have to revisit this since it appears Ryan's team won't be playing in a conference championship. Are you still as interested, Arkansas? I think John said as recently as yesterday that, is it Kalshi, John?
Yeah.
Has Ryan as the favorite, even after
still, I mean, it's 40%, but he is the favorite.
It's come down, but still the favorite.
Yeah.
Even after the loss. And so I ask you, is he still an attractive candidate and sort of, first swing type, where he's not, you're not going down your list and we're talking about fourth or fifth and a bunch of guys that passed on it. Is he still up there for you?
I think so, but I mean, we talked about this last week, and there comes this necessary stamp of showing that you can make it to the game that you are expected to make it to as the team with the most resources behind it in the American, and now it is going to be a 6th year without making it to the American Conference Championship game. And that's a ding. Like, it just is. And I love Coach Silverfield. So these conversations always stink when you have a relationship with a coach and are rooting for them and you want the best for this program. And then also on the flip side, like from the Arkansas seat of it, do you still believe in that? And I liken to think from a really level-headed space where if you believed in him as a coach before they lost this last game, it doesn't really shift the needle that much. Like, that's a hire you're going to make regardless, right? And within this coaching cycle, as you try to shift through the legitimate candidates that all of these power conference jobs are going to pick from, it's not necessarily a year where you have a million choices at your disposal too. Mm-hmm. So I'd be really curious, the internal conversations there. I think, you can't get around it. Like, at the end of the day, it's unacceptable. You have to make it to the American Conference Championship game. They could have lost to Tulane if they just hadn't lost to UAB. So those are the kind of losses where if you are a hiring AD, it just would cause you at least a reason to pause. Like, why does this happen in the way that it does every year for this team, right?
Yeah, I honestly, like, if I am Arkansas, I don't know how I can present this to my fan base. Like, I would almost rather hire an offensive coordinator who had no experience in a way, because
then you could at least sell it as
like, I think Silverfield's track record kind of works against him here, in that, you win a lot of games, but you haven't. How do you think you're going to come into the SEC and compete when you haven't even been in the top 2 of the American? Like he's 6 years of that. Whereas if I go get like a hot OC, he may not be able to compete either, but at least I won't have that working against me in terms of the presentation of the hire. All things can feel possible.
Yeah.
Right, because we all say year to year that he recruits well, right, Jess? But then if we're talking about return on that investment and you haven't made a conference title game with it, then then the return on investment isn't good enough. And that's what Arkansas would have.
And I know injuries don't matter. They do technically, but in how we talk about this. But Brendan Lewis is hurt and has been hurt, and that does play a part in this year.
That said, and we touched on this with Jeff. I'm just saying if you agree with me, Jess. In both instances, at UAB and again against Tulane, your defense did not come to play. You were down 10-0 with Brendan Lewis in.
Oh, it's absurd.
Right? And then in this one, right?
The difference between the first half and the second half
crazy
defensive efforts has been mind-numbing.
Crazy.
Like, that defense that we see allow 3 points in the second half against Tulane, how that is the same one that just gave up, like, recess-level touchdowns in the first half.
That's
like
right.
Playground touchdowns. Just absolute, no one around, big play, break it open time and time again is so bizarre. And also the false start at the end of the penalties that have bitten them,
UAB
where they're trying to make a push to make a comeback. UAB and this one. So those are, when you're creating the list of pro cons, those are legitimate cons to look at.
All right, Memphis basketball is on the road tonight at Ole Miss. They won and they covered against San Francisco. That's a good gauge of performance, and they outperformed, technically speaking, by winning by 6. But the road gets a lot tougher tonight against Ole Miss. What should we expect? Obviously, to say we expect to win as a 10-point underdog is asking quite a bit. But like, what are you hoping to learn about Memphis basketball tonight on the road at Ole Miss?
I'd love to see it look as smooth, and maybe that's asking too much, but it looked pretty smooth against San Francisco. And after the comments that were made the previous week and how things looked in the exhibition games, like that really didn't feel guaranteed. Like it felt like it could have been a real herky-jerky experience to start the season for Memphis, and there was a level of comfort that I thought we saw in that first game. So a continuation of that. I believe Ole Miss is one of the better three-point shooting teams, so would love to see some threes fall for Memphis, which hasn't been their specialty at this point, and something that if you're going to hang with them feels like a pretty big necessity. And then also just the continuation of this front court that had a lot of question marks going into the year. And I'm always a sucker for a good story. I love that Simon Majok from South Sudan, the transfer, but also like guys like Aaron Bradshaw and Tierno Silla, and just how they're able to play against this Ole Miss team and really see, like, do you have something in the front court to work with that goes along with guys like a Quante Berry or a Doug McDaniel? Just how this all fits together early, because I mean, we talk about it every single year, but it doesn't change. Like these games really matter for Memphis when it comes to building your resume. And so even if, maybe it's early to get one on the road against Ole Miss and in a place that Memphis hasn't won in a minute now, but then maybe, the following weekend, you're able to put together against UNLV, and then you get Purdue. And what if you're at a place where you're able to get one of these big ones as you go into Feast Week and all that? So this just feels like a good real measuring stick on the road, good SEC opponent. What does it look like against this?
My favorite Tiger on this brand new team is Julius King Thedford, and the effort just that he plays with in a college athletics world where it's all transactional. You're not playing for the name on the front of the chest. That dude there was just so great. You could see it in his play, but then you saw it afterwards in the things he was saying. He's so grateful to be playing for Penny, but the hometown team. And seeing that, Jess, I mean, and you see Penny, and we've talked about it, and I've said it to other folks, but like, getting a couple of guys like that to build this thing around seems like the way to go. Guys that it might still matter for. And I've said it when Penny talks about Memphis basketball, the way I saw Thedford out there playing against San Francisco, that looked like some Memphis basketball stuff. I want more of that.
Yeah. And that's how I felt about the Majok game too, just from a sense of, okay, one of the big parts about college basketball, he might not be the most important player. He might not be the 10th most important player, whatever. From a standpoint of finding players who are easy to root for quickly for a fan base, just someone who does something in a game where you're like, you know what? I want to follow this guy all season. And that's a very real thing in college basketball now with the amount of turnover that you're seeing any given night. So there's tremendous value in players like that who give you a reason to be like, oh, that's familiar. I might not know this person's name, but that's familiar to the product of Memphis basketball that I'm, well acquainted with. And now I'm going to find out their name and follow them for the rest of this year.
We were talking before we brought you on about these new city editions, the platinum joints. What do we think? Nice. What's our official JB review?
I love them. I want one. I don't wear jerseys, but if I did, I'd wear one of these.
Now, if you didn't like it, you'd say that, right? You would say it was like a disgusting design, right?
I don't think I would give it. I think I wouldn't give it quite the fortified response that I just gave it.
They really have not missed on these, though.
These are fine.
Yeah,
they've
done really well every year.
I like the rollout of it. Yes, and I really love the 70s Stacks vibe that comes through in these jerseys. The pattern up and down. I love a crispy white jersey. So no, I think these are really cool, and even just the rollout of it with the kind of like diamond encrusted sparkly ball and Jaren in a fur coat. It all fit very well together.
Yeah, what was Jaren wearing the other night? What was that? What was that on his? Did you see it in the? Do you know what I'm talking about?
What was it?
It was like some brown fur around. It was like a turtleneck. It was, of course, it was.
Oh, it's cozy. It's cozy season.
Yeah.
It's just cozy season. Okay, I just went back and looked. Oh, that is a.
What is that?
He was big turtleneck. It's a sleeveless turtleneck.
A sleeveless turtleneck. He was lotioning up his arms, Jess, with that sleeveless fur on there. Sleeveless turtleneck. Is that fur?
Okay. I think it's I don't think it's fur. Maybe it's like Sherpa. Like a rug?
Well, he's scaling Everest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand it as you see.
He's supposed to be warm.
Got it.
That cold front came through. It took us all by surprise. I wore a turtleneck too.
It did. Looks like something my mom
would
wear.
Did.
I think Jason has very little patience for Jaron right now. I think it's
taking it out on the turtleneck. I get it.
I'll be honest. I think it's a fit you should only try to wear if you're like playing really well.
They call it, what is it, a snuggie or what do they call those things? And it's just an expensive snuggie or snuggle thing where you know those things.
I did love a snuggie. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make
the snuggies.
I'm just keeping tabs. Thank you, Jess. I love to keep the fashion tabs on.
Well, I'm curious. What would you like a player who's in the middle of maybe not the best start to the season to wear? Just tracksuit or bust, warm ups or bust.
There you go. Just those work clothes. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like John Conchar.
Time to roll up them sleeves. Right? He doesn't have sleeves. He's putting lotion on it. Time to roll up them sleeves and hit the boards.
You can't roll up the sleeves to start. That's tough.
Nope.
That's tough.
Exactly. Those aren't work clothes. Exactly. That's it. That's where
now, if he was on his way to another Defensive Player of the Year award, I think we could live with anything, right?
Come on down the runway.
He could wear a loincloth, if needed.
Nah.
If needed, I'm saying
this is getting uncomfortable.
If he insisted, but without that, right now, it's everything gets scrutinized, right? When you're not playing well.
I hear you.
That's the way it goes.
You're the best, Jessica.
Thank you as always.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Bye.
She is Jessica Benson. Joins us every single Tuesday here on the show. Yeah, man, you got to just wear the black forces, Just wear the black forces and the Nike Tech, and then if you bust out of the slump, so be it.
Caruso and them just did that man in again. He lotioned up the arms with the.
I had no idea what y'all were asking about.
Now
I went back and looked.
Now you see it. Nobody talked about it, but I will.
What is it, on Instagram or something?
Yeah, it's on their Instagram.
They're posting all of these post game interviews with all these guys. You're seeing Instagram.
That was like the pregame like walk up type thing where they just take it and they're wearing whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I thought it was going to be like mixed in with the rest of the pictures. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it's the first one.
Oh yeah, I see.
You just go to their page and it's like, here you go. Yeah. Here's Jaron wearing his inside out sweatshirt. Turtleneck with no sleeves.
Yeah, like Ja has just like the
he's just wearing
the hoodie and the pants,
work clothes.
Jalen Wells, black t-shirt, black pants and slides. Jock Landale, same thing.
Santi's just wearing a
Jaron. Let's just be real. He's on that extra. He's on that Kuzma. He wants to be seen.
He is on that Kuzma.
He wants to be. Doesn't Jalen Williams do this too? I will say, Jalen Williams backing it up on the floor. Champion. Young man's a champ.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to police anybody's.
I'm not policing it,
but I mean, I feel you. I feel where you're coming from.
I'm talking about we just got bodied. Okay,
right.
We're looking for this man to be a grown man out here and go to work.
Yeah, and he's like at the Met Gala.
Now, yeah, we're 10th in the standings, but apparently number 1 in fashion in the West.
Would it be as big a deal if it had sleeves? If it was just a big sweater,
then it would have looked more like a coat and caught my eye. He was lotioning up in it.
Yeah, right. Like if it had sleeves and it's just a sweater, it's fine. You're like, okay, it's cold out.
Like if Jaron went to Memphis City Schools wearing that, right? Like he would not have walked out.
No,
he would not have walked out. There's just he would have gotten absolutely flamed.
He would have walked out rolling his eyes, talking about they don't understand fashion. Dumb kids.
I mean, for real. Like he would have gotten absolutely like scorched earth.
Let's go to work tonight. Guess the Knicks.
Yeah.
Not to the runway.
I you know what? I agree. But that's not what it's New York City. He might pull out his
it's going to be Met Gala stuff tonight.
It might only be the turtleneck. It might not be the rest of the shirt.
I mean, it's dead ass. Like,
I'm scared to see
that Lady Gaga like meat costume.
He's going to put a lot of thought into it.
That just make sure you tune into the Grizz Instagram for, and then we'll cover it tomorrow on Grizz Beat.
I'll have it on Grizz Beat.
That's the beat.
3.
That's the real beat.
Yep.
Jaron's fashion. Anyway, thanks to Jessica Benson for joining us on the show. We'll come back. Dane Bradshaw is going to join us at 12:30. We'll talk to him about Memphis and Ole Miss. This handicap and You know, how Memphis can have success.
Great get.
What he makes of Ole Miss. We'll do all that in just a little bit. Stick around. J&J, 92.9 FM, ESPN.
92.9 FM, ESPN, Memphis' sports station. Listen to 92.9 FM ESPN on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or tune in.